Hello and welcome to Ooled Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Taurus. If Taurus is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so the card we have tonight is the Art card. The grand mixing of things. And let's see what these tea leaves have to say. All right, so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Okay. Okay, so we have the Chariot. Okay, so I'm going to take a look. I want to start here. We have, and at first I was like, okay, so this looks like almost like a war scene, like some kind of battle happening. But as I spun it and I looked, that's not what I'm seeing. And now we have a person here. They are standing up tall, right? They are elevated. Now behind it we see a dragon. Okay, you can see the dragon's head here, the body. I see a skull right here. This person over here is holding a scythe and a sign of harvest. And then we have a fish right here, okay? We also have a little baby dragon. So, and let's look at this really quick. We have a 23 right in the middle with a bird sitting on it. So that, with the bird, definitely a message coming through. Some kind of special, sacred number. It means something beyond, just the regular. You're going to see a 23 somewhere. No, this is something that the divine wants you to see. It's right there in the middle, so it is important. And with the bird, we know those are messengers. So, now we know we're in the year of the dragon. Okay, so that makes sense. The dragon is here. We're talking about our year, how things are going to kind of be going, what the temperament of the year might be. And so at first I looked at it, I thought, okay, so this person looks like they're fighting this dragon, but I don't think so. It actually looks like there maybe are like a partnership here. They maybe are really getting along. And so we have this, and it looks something like maybe pretty masculine, I would say. And holding the scythe there, harvesting whatever you have sown, right? And now it's time to reap it. So I do feel like as this year gets really into the meat of the thing, we get further and further in there. Your hard work is really going to start paying off. I think this is going to be a year where you begin to see some real forward movement with maybe, your job, if you have a business or a side hustle or something that you're kind of putting together, some kind of creative project. I could see this in the beginning here of the year, not the beginning of your work, but in this beginning quarter when everything is going a little more slow for most people. It can be, kind of like okay, I don't know if we're going to have a good year or not. This seems like it's maybe a slow year again. And this thing maybe is going to be more difficult than I thought. But I do think maybe as you get into summer, there will be, really signs of things taking hold. I mean, really a lot of very apparent progress, not just kind of like, hoping things are going to be going well. No, I think that you're going to see that you are getting the position that you want. You are getting the hours that you want. You are getting the pay you want, the commission, whatever it is that you do, however you are paid. It's starting to really come through. Now, once you get into that fall season, right, we're going to see that, the harvest is going to be plentiful. And now if you're in the southern hemisphere, this is all turned around a bit. It might be soon, right? You're going into fall pretty quickly. So I do think that this will be aligned with the seasons in a very kind of, it's pretty obvious, blatant way. And we see the fish, and I know that there will be a lot. There will be an abundance of, and I think this will be that monetary resources, things within the mundane that help, stabilize your life, pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep the house together, keep your life moving in the direction that you want it to be. Hopefully thinking about putting away whatever you can, maybe investing if you can, I have no advice about that. I have no idea really. But I do know it's a good thing to do if you have the ability to. Now, if you're like most of us, it's like, we're just going to pay what we can. If we can get a little ahead on those bills, awesome, right? But yes, I do. I think that this is going to end up being a year that, we all have those years where it's like, I don't know. I don't know that this is going to be very, a very abundant year. You can just sense it at times. And it, wherever you are, things have been kind of, I don't know what the weather's been like, but even here, the weather's been real warm this year. A lot of things that people make money doing in the winter, totally thrown off. People who like snowplow and stuff, making, I don't know what they're gonna do. We've had no snow. So, I think that when we have these years where things are really extreme shifts, and then in other parts of the country or in the world, other weather events happening, lots of snow, shutting things down, destructive things happening. And I think the weather really, I don't know what, maybe as I got older or just more in tune with it, I really feel like so much of my feeling of life in the world and how things are flowing is tied to, the weather patterns and things going on. And it changes human behavior, it really, the way that we live is impacted. If you live in a place where it's like steadily kind of the same weather all the time, then, it's not as apparent maybe. But when you live in a place that has very distinct seasons, or you have seasons that are like monsoons or very hot or, extreme cold, like where I'm at, then things, we become kind of reliant on how these things happen. And when they kind of don't go as we might think they are, there's a large variance in it, then we know this is going to be kind of a weird year. Things are strange, The bugs are I already saw flies. I've never seen flies this early in the year, ever, up here. So, it's going to be a weird one. So anyways, I think that this is it. It probably has felt like, I'm not really sure. I have a lot of hope. That's what I'm getting from you. There's a lot of hope. You're motivated. Okay. You're a Taurus. So you're an optimist. You can't help it. You cannot help it. And I do. And I think this lends itself to your success. You have to kind of, this is another thing, maybe because I'm older, but I really do believe that to some degree, how we meet the world. Now, I don't just mean people. I just mean meet our day. How we interact with the universe really does shape not only our experience, but how things go for us. Okay, and now this is not a hard rule. Of course, there are times when there are circumstances that are beyond our control. Almost everything is beyond our control. And there are things that come up that we absolutely are blindsided by. It just, that is life, and that does happen. But for the most part, I think it really is so important how we, how we decide to get out of bed. What is our attitude going to be like? I can tell you, because I'm a very moody lady, I'm very mercurial. I am very mercurial. If I get out of bed without any sweetness in me, if I am looking for a reason to be upset, or I'm just, I'm plain old grumpy, it's going to be a difficult day, and so this is true of life. And I feel like you're in a place where it's like, I've got this. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do this thing. And it is going to shift into picking up as it gets warmer or cooler. But as these months go on, I would say in the next 4 or 5 months, absolutely seeing big payoffs for the work that you have really, really consistently been doing. Now, I know that this has to do with work because I saw we have the chariot, and you can see the horse here, you can see the chariot back here, and a person standing up in here. So I know that you are absolutely married to this work. That's also what we have here. The art card is kind of like, if you think of the Lovers card in the Thoth deck, this is the chemical marriage, right? The coupling of opposites. Now, this is kind of the story that goes beyond. This is when the actual, process is happening. The dissolution and the mixing and combining, the true combining of things. So this is where, basically, if you could imagine an alchemist's lab, but even I like to think of it as the artist's studio, right? Where the marriage is maybe finding your medium, finding your muse, finding your space to work in. The art card is when you're really in there. You're in there doing the thing, creating the thing, living in, fully immersed in the work. Okay. So, I think that it's going to be a busy year. It might be difficult. Now, I think it's really getting, things together as far as resources, as far as money, getting your house in order, the foundation really solid there. But now here's the thing is that when we get into these modes, our relationships can suffer. And that's because I think a lot of us become very focused and maybe hyper fixated on whatever we are working on. The things that when it starts going well and you're getting this ball rolling and it's really gaining momentum, it's hard to pull yourself away. But you also have people in your life probably that you have to maintain relationships with, at least to some degree. And especially if you are living with them or raising them, your children or your significant other, or parents or, family members or whoever. So I think this is a good reminder that even though, the outcome of these things is so sweet. I mean, just, you can imagine like a piece of ripe fruit, like something so delicious. You also have to make sure you're prioritizing time for yourself, but also time with the people who are of importance. Because you don't want to get lost in all of this and that suffers. We hear so often about, when people, they start a business, they get really busy with school, finishing, their higher education, getting into the workforce, but really getting into a career that's very demanding and you put a lot of time into it. And this is kind of the age-old story. Sometimes your marriage, it suffers. Sometimes, being away from your kids, it makes it very difficult. I have no advice really besides make sure that you're doing what you can. Okay. Don't let it be an afterthought. Okay. So we also have, it looks like, I'm trying to see, I think it looks like a dog standing upright. Okay. And holding a ball. So I kind of feel like there's also this sense of like, the lots of work, but also this feeling of like needing to play, work hard, play hard. Okay. So, maybe that's part of it too, is making sure that you are blowing off steam, making sure that you are doing things that you really enjoy doing. So you don't get burnt, getting to that point where you're just barely making it through, the tasks at hand, can be, it just wears away at your soul, doesn't it? And so, make sure that you're doing things that you enjoy, outside of the work. You might enjoy the work too, but also going and doing some frivolous things that don't have to be productive, right? Okay, let's see. Okay, so now, here's the other thing. It looks like we have a dragon here. Its mouth is open. Now we have a person, and it looks like they are feeding this dragon an apple. Okay? And you can see the little stem right there. We also have, it looks like an omega symbol, but it has that thing on top as well. We also have fish everywhere. The little fish formations. So with the apple, always to me in my mind, this is kind of that apple a day keeps the doctor away kind of thing. So it has to do with health. Okay. So I do think that in this next year, even with the stress of all this work that you have, these things that you're doing, it's time consuming. Probably puts a lot of, pressure and stress on your mind, your emotions, and your physical body. And so I think that this is another thing, keeping this in mind, that you have to like keep up with your wellness routines and stuff like that. But I do think that this will be a year of fairly good health, right? I never want to say like if you have, some kind of acute thing happening, or you have chronic illness, chronic pain. I'm never going to tell you it's going to be cured or anything like that. I don't know. Even if I did, I wouldn't say that because it's not ethical in my mind. So, what I do see when I see the apple, though, is that it is a time of ease in the health, right? If you are somebody who has something that like has flare-ups, or, you go through periods of time where there's a lot more pain, or you're just, generally not feeling well. Well, I feel like there will be ease here, okay? It will be a season of feeling pretty good, okay? Other than that, if you don't have health issues, I think it's just kind of sustained. Now, of course, do not rely on me for medical advice. Go to the doctor if you have, the access to healthcare, and just make sure you're staying on top of how you're feeling. Listen to yourself and all of those things. It's very important, especially the older we get, right? I hit the wall at like when I had my daughter. I was like 35, I guess, and oh boy. It was like the turning point of, when you're young, you think you're just going to bounce back from every little thing, and you have a lot more time too. That's the other thing. I'd have a headache. I'd take it. Get done with work, go and take a nap. I'll be fine. Well, guess what? You don't have time for a nap anymore. You got to deal with it. So, and we also have this person here. So I think that this is kind of a representation of you and of your year. And you are taking care of that thing. You are, and taking care of yourself. I think you are really, just so involved with work, wellness, health-related things, keeping track of, keeping track of how you're feeling, I think, is the big thing here. Listening to yourself, not just health-wise. I think spiritually, emotionally, physically, of course. But, I think through this, it's like it is a time of great power for you. I feel like you know yourself more than you ever have. And I feel like, it's like you're the master of your own reality. I feel like there's a lot of confidence here. And so, when I see the omega, which is the ending, the last letter in the Greek alphabet, I was like cringing for a second. I was like, is that right? Yes, Greek alphabet. I should know. I have an omega tattoo. I have an alpha omega tattoo. The only tattoos I have, by the way. Anyways, I feel like there's some kind of ending coming. Okay. And it feels like, I feel like this is not a bad thing. I think it's the ending of an era. I almost wonder if like maybe you have your work, like the job you have, your day job, and maybe you have like a business that you've started, or you're like going to school and you're getting ready to go into a new career path or something like this. Maybe you're going to be retiring and then working, hopefully super part-time. But whatever it is, I can see that there will be an ending and shifting into something else. Okay. And I think that this will also bring a lot of happiness and ease to your life. Now with the fish again, we know the fish are abundance, and there's just a lot of abundance in this cup tonight. So I feel like there's this kind of, if we could think of something as like a feeling, like a sensation we're feeling about our life, within our life. It feels like, the thick of the cream, you just absolutely are getting the, the kind of decadent and glorious and enjoyable silkiness of life, right? Waking up and feeling excited about your day, hoping for the best and getting better. It seems like a really positive time. Okay, so now we have a horse, and we have a 3. We have 31 up here, and then we have a horse. And a person next to it. And we have a horse and a person kind of lying next to it. So I feel like this really is kind of an emphasis on making sure that you're sleeping. I mean, getting your sleep, getting enough sleep. I almost wonder if, like, at some points when things start to really kind of feel like they're going well, you're excited, you're working a lot, you're just super into the thing. If there isn't times where you have almost kind of like either like hypomania or mania, and getting into these places where you just can't sleep. Just going into like insomnia, and really, and not addressing these states of being, and kind of getting just worn down. Absolutely worn down, and losing your momentum, because it's like such a burst of, energy, and then it just absolutely, you can't maintain that. You begin to spiral out from there. So, if that's something that sounds familiar, my best advice first is, like, if you see somebody, a therapist or a counselor or a doctor or somebody, definitely talk to them about if you're feeling that way. But, also I think it's easy to abandon, like, our sleep routines and, our intentional movement, making sure that we're moving enough to get ourselves worn out, eating well, whatever that means for you, whatever that looks like for you. When we're excited about life and they're hectic and busy, and we're really into the thing we're doing, these are some of the first things that go, right? And they are the things that uphold our ability to do good work, to work well. And so we have to really prioritize taking care of those aspects of our life, or things, might go well for a while, but they're not going to be sustainable. And, I don't know about you, but usually, and again, maybe because I'm an older person, I think about how sustainable things might be constantly. The reality of, like, what is the longevity of this thing? Like, what is the reality of how this is going to play out. You know, is it truly going to be worth the time? You know, and so, yeah, I think it's important to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, because we can only do so much when we're running near empty, right? Okay, let's take a look. We have our Dreamers deck, 40 affirmations for pursuing your dreams. I like pursuing my dreams. Okay, I'm going to stop where it feels right. Then we'll just take a look. It says, I know that I have everything it takes to build the life of my dreams. I am capable. Again, I know that I have everything it takes to build the life of my dreams. I am capable. Indeed. Indeed, you are. Okay, Taurus, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. And what else? Oh, and if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. They mean the world to me. They absolutely do. All right. Taurus, I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk in just a few days. Good night.